2, 1.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing okay this week. Let's welcome in Wildcat Riggs. Hello, great to see you. There's Kelly Bullock from the Bullock Experience. Welcome in. Chris Everett. There's Jay Fox Hunter. Hello, Jimmy. How are you? And Paul Boyd by PNB Catfishing, aka Paul Boyd. Hello. And there's Whisker Dreams. Hello. Welcome in. So glad to see you guys. I guess Dan's running a little bit late, but that's okay. Tonight we're going to be discussing crappie. So I'm pretty excited about getting into that, moving into a new phase. So we'll see if Stan pops up here in the next 2 or 3 minutes. And if he doesn't, then we'll just go on with the show. And he'll be here as soon as he can. I just know it. But I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I know we had a big parade downtown here, and I didn't go to it this year, but everything was good. Thank goodness it was good here, even though it wasn't necessarily over the country. But I don't want to get into any negative stuff tonight. Last week was all about the community and about what was going on personally with people, but definitely got to get back to having a fun show. So what did everybody do for the 4th? Did you guys end up staying home? Well, I went over to my daughter's house and she cooked out, and so we just had hamburgers and just enjoyed being together and hanging out with each other. Hey, Sunfish for Fish, welcome in. So glad you came in. There's Brian B. Hello, Brian B. Great to see you. That is awesome, Kelly. Congratulations on the boat. That's amazing. I knew you were getting a surprise, but I haven't gotten to see it, so I'm tickled to death that you got one. I know I've been on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace all day today trying to find a kayak. I'm waiting on the right one to pop up. I had one that popped up, and I was going to go get it, and he ended up selling it out from under me, so that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. I'd have flipped it or done something crazy if I'd stuck with it, so I'm glad. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'm not messing around with stuff like that. So, hey, Chris Everett, welcome in. But like I said, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July and enjoyed some family time. And if not, enjoyed some good food. Because I don't know about you guys, but I love to cook out. And when my kids were younger, I used to cook out all the time. I mean, we cooked out all the time. But now that it's just me, I hate to go out and get the grill ready and do all of that for 1 or 2 burgers. It's just, so I don't cook out a lot, but my daughter still cooks out quite a bit. So I'm really lucky in that. Hi, Miss Michelle. It's all mine. So glad to see you in. Hope you're doing great. But today I went out and checked my garden, and I've got 2 tomato plants, both with, big tomatoes on them, but I haven't had one turn red. Well, I had one turn red about 4 days ago, and then I've got 2 more on my bush that's red, and I see another one turning, so it's almost getting into harvest season. So I'm really excited about my tomatoes. I've got zucchini growing. I've got cucumbers growing. I've got cantaloupe and watermelon. I've got onions. I got sweet potatoes. I've got banana peppers and green peppers. Let's see. I've already harvested some banana peppers, so that was awesome. And I've got blueberries and strawberries and oh man, I've got so much stuff out there. I've got mint and I've got, let's see, what else do I have? Lettuce. I've got lettuce. So I got a nice little garden going outside. I live in a little bitty house with a little bitty lot, and I've got it all in containers. So, but I've got a beautiful container garden. But I'm tickled about that. And Sunfish for Fish says his chickens just started laying eggs, and he got egg number 6. That's awesome. That's one thing my daughter and I talk about all the time wanting a homestead. And I'm like, the first thing I'd get is goats and chickens so I could have fresh eggs. So, hey, Creole, welcome in. Mr. Creole catfishing himself. So glad to see you. And so I'm Scooter. Sorry, excuse me. Scooter. Stay out of there. Uh, so I'm real excited that finally I've already pulled my turnips. I did have a bed of turnips that I've already pulled and stored for the winter. So I'm excited about those. So it's just starting to get into paying off for all this hard work that I've done trying to get them to grow. So love me some yard eggs. I do too. Hey, Johnny Small Pepper, welcome in. So glad you came to join us. But yeah, I definitely have chicken. I mean, I can have chickens in the city, even though where I'm at, but legally I can have them. But I don't think that my landlord would like that. So, hey, Fish in the Dream, Mr. George, welcome in. So great to see you. So, but I'm just excited that, like I said, I finally got vegetables on my stuff, and it's starting to get exciting. So, and this is the first year I've ever grown anything other than strawberries. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I've managed to keep everything alive. I've got 6 big cantaloupe out there so far, and I've got, I think, 6 watermelons. So, it's coming along. I'm having a good time learning. Hey, Catfish Bandit, welcome in. So great to see you. So we're going to be jumping into crappie tonight. We're kind of it's not going to be as long of a segment as our sunfish was, because I wanted to really give a lot of basic information. So that way, if somebody was trying to learn to fish and they came back and they watched the videos, it was in succession, getting a brand new angler to learn how to, put line on a rod and how to tie a hook on. And I wanted to go through that really slowly. So that way, if somebody, has never fished before, they could go and they could chronologically watch and progress through. But now that we're into crappie, we already know how to do all of that. So now we've just got lures, habitat, and just a few shows. So we're not going to be on crappie a long time, maybe 3-4 weeks at the max, maybe I'm thinking 3 to 4 weeks. But if there's anybody out there that loves to go crappie fishing, and you could help give an angler inside, you got some tips and tricks, I would love to have you on the show. You can email me at catfishingmacaws@gmail.com. I would love to get you on here. Hey, Delhay Slip, and there's Silver Fox Sandy. Hello, Miss Sandy. So great to see you. Thanks for coming in. There's Snake River. Hey, Snake River, how are you, buddy? Great to see you. Man, he's got some awesome videos, Dale. He's got a really good channel. I enjoy watching his stuff. He can fish. I like it. So definitely. And Miss It's All Mine, I'll have you know, I made some ooey gooey bars about a week and a half ago, and they turned out perfect, just like you taught me. So thank you. That was really awesome. Let me message Stan and see where he's at. Let's see what's going on with Stan. Okay. So today we're just going to be going over some facts about crappie, just getting to know the species. Just getting people familiar with crappie a little bit. All right, you're trying to drive. You just be safe. That's what matters. Just to get into the species a little bit and learn a little bit about the differences between black and white crappie, which there are 2 types of crappie, which are the black crappie and the white crappie. Now, the crappie are actually a part of the same sunfish family. And so they're actually a part of bluegills and all the different sunfish. They're a part of the same family. So they are considered a game fish. and they are really good to eat. Um, hey, G-Style, welcome in. So great to see you. So I got some different facts about them, and we're going to have a couple giveaways. So we're going to have some fun with this. We've got one thing about black crappie and white crappie. So there's a little bit of difference between them. A little bit of difference in which habitat they like. But a lot of people have a really hard time figuring out whether or not they have a black crappie or a white crappie. And fair enough, during spawning season and stuff, the white crappie will actually look more like the black crappie. So depending upon the time of the year, it could be, you might not know. A black crappie has spots that are irregularly arranged down its body. And white crappie have 7 to 8 vertical bands that go. So if it's got spots and there's no rhyme or reason, it's more than likely a black crappie. If it's got rows, then it's going to be a white crappie. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. Let's see. The black crappie is deeper in body, so it's got a little pot belly. Hey, Rex. Welcome in, Aaron. So great to see you, bud. Black crappie have a larger mouth than white crappie. They are compared in the things that I've read to bass. So they've got a bigger mouth. So if you get one and it's got a little tiny mouth, you can definitely look for those spots and tell if it's a white crappie for you or not. The black crappie, the dorsal and the anal fins are identical in size. So if you get one, it's got the same size fins. That is a sign of a black crappie. The gill cover, it comes to a sharp point on a black crappie, and on a white crappie, it's like an ear flap. So that's another indication. So the black crappie has 7 or 8 dorsal fin spines, where the white crappie has 6. And 6 dorsal fin spines. So the white crappie are going to have less fin spines. So that's another indication between what the difference is. As I was saying before, the black crappie stays the same throughout breeding. It's all, it doesn't change its color in any way, shape, or form. But the white crappie do get darker during breeding. So that can make it a little hard to tell. But we can remember the spines and the ear flaps and look for that pointed ear flaps. So, and we can also look on the black crappie. Both of the fins should be the same size. So, black crappie prefer cooler, deeper, clearer waters with lots of vegetation. Hey, Tom, welcome in. There's Mr. LG Bass. So great to see you. White crappie, they like creek backwaters, slow flowing streams, sand and mud bottom pools, small and large rivers, lakes, and ponds. So you can find them in a lot of different places. White crappie prefer shallower water. So they like to be near drop-off, standing timber, brush cover, or any artificial cover. I think anybody that's done any crappie fishing or ever heard about any of it, they know about the brush piles. And so, they really like to hang out in brush piles because minnows live in brush piles for protection against predators. And so they like to get in there and eat the minnows. So that's one thing that that you can typically find. If you can find a sunken tree, I think that's where everybody Fishermen, if you're allowed to do it in your state, will go get old Christmas trees after Christmas is over and take them out and put them in the lake, because that way they'll have time to have the crappie stacked up and ready to fish in the spring. So that's always a good thing now. So when crappie are younger, they like zooplankton, crustaceans, insects, fish, insect larvae, young shad, minnows, and small sunfish. So they will eat. They will eat all of that. Small minnows form a large part of their diet, and they consume the fry of many species of game fish. In southern reservoirs, gizzard shad, threadfin shad are major forage, and in northern states, insects are dominant. And they continue to feed during the winter, and they're very active under ice. I think that we've heard of Mark of Catfish and Crappie talking about crappie fishing through the ice. So they're definitely active, and you can definitely still catch them even though you're iced over. So I think that's really cool. Um, Crappie, they put up a good fight. They're beautiful fish, and they're fun to catch, definitely. So let's see. So whenever, like I was saying, whenever you start, you want to think of brush or the nearest thing resembling brush in the water. Um, and so, that's where you're going to find your schools of crappie hanging out under. Other hideouts are fallen trees, bushes, old piers. Um, let's see, flooded weeds, um, or shoals covered with coontail or sphagnum moss, plus wrecked boats, docks, building blocks, and brush piles that have been planted to attract minnows, and undercut banks. Sometimes they'll go up underneath that, um, and so that you can. But both of the white crappie and the black crappie form schools. So there, where you find one, more than likely you're not more than likely you are going to find more of them. So if you get on a school of them, then have fun, because they just keep coming. Mayfly larva, that's right, sunfish, that's exactly right. Absolutely. So let's see here. What we got next? So I was looking up the records and trying to figure out who was, where the world record and state records and all of that. So there was a black crappie back in 1969 caught, and it was a 6-pounder according to the gentleman that caught it. Now back then, um, he didn't have pictures of the fish, and so whenever people, as time passed, whenever they made their requirement for pictures to be included to prove the size of the fish or in the catch, then they kind of retired that world record and named a new world record. So hey, Carmel Muncie, hello, welcome in. Um, and so that fish that was a 6-pounder, and that was the world record up until they made that change. So the gentleman that holds the world record right now for the largest crappie is actually from right up the road from me here in Tennessee. Loudoun County it's, I don't know, 35 minutes from me. And his last name was Ferguson, and he was fishing a spring-fed pond, and he hooked a 5-pound, 7-ounce, 19.25-inch long black crappie. So, I mean, that's amazing. So we definitely got good crappie here in Tennessee. What do they like the rest of the year? George, as far as the mayfly larva, maybe he can answer you in the chat. Great questions. And the rest of the year, they like, let me find it here. They like, when they're younger, they feed on zooplankton. They eat crustaceans, insects, fish, insect larvae, young shad, minnows, and small sunfish. But minnows are their main, that's their gig. So a particle eater right now, yeah, sunfish, absolutely. So, they eat smaller fish for a long. There's Mr. John, real-time catfishing. Welcome in, sir. So great to see you, as always. But their main diet, from everything that I've read and I've learned about them, is minnows. So great questions. Anybody's got another question, throw them up there. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay, so the world record crappie, the 5 pound 7 ounce, it was 19.25 inches long. And it hit on a 2-inch triple threat grub on an 1/8 ounce jig head. And it took him 5 minutes to land that fish. So that would have been a fun fight. The fish was weighed by the Tennessee Wildlife Officer on certified scales, and witnesses to the catch and the weighing were on hand. The fish also went through DNA testing by the state to make sure it was a black crappie, not a white crappie or a hybrid. The fish's current IGFA all tackle record for black crappie, as well as the Tennessee state record. So that's amazing that it was just caught right down the road from me. I've got a couple of good crappie spots, so they stack up and they're fun. They're fun to catch, and it's off of pillars, off of a bridge. And they stack up down there on those pillars, and you can just kill them sometimes. They're so much fun. On 4 pound test, yeah, I'm not sure. It didn't tell me what pound test it was on, but 4 pound test for 5 minutes, I'd say, it was definitely a very low pound test line, because he was working that baby in. So, So what is the biggest crappie that any of you guys, have you ever weighed your crappie? Or what's the biggest you guys have ever caught? I've never weighed a crappie. My last crappie, I had the scales there. I just didn't think anything about it. It wasn't a catfish, so I just I didn't weigh it. But I wished I would have weighed it, because it was a pretty big fish. It wasn't the record by any means, but it was a nice fish. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know either. I'd seen it I seen the same story in like 3 or 4 articles, so I didn't continue to look after that. But so who knows why the fish is called a crappie? Does anybody in chat know? Because some of us call them crappie and some of us call them crappies. I've grown up always calling them crappie. That's what my family called them. And 2 pounds is your largest. Nice. I mean, that's a great crappie. Average, I think, is like 1 1/4 to 2. That's getting above average. So that's a good one. Those are fun to catch and give you a nice fillet. One good thing about crappie is there's usually generous keep amounts, and so you can definitely keep enough for a good fish fry, and it not hurt the species, not hurt their place in the water system. So Just like everything else that I ever talk to you about, if you're going to harvest it, enjoy it. That's why we have limits set by our states and our regulators, but honor their lives and don't throw dead fish on the side of the lake, and don't just, none of us here in the catfish community believe in that. I don't believe. If you're going to harvest it, use it. So sorry about that. Crappies originally came from a French term called crappe, which is the name of any fish in the sunfish family. The pronunciation of the English name is crappie. It's a very similar pronunciation as to the original French word. So I'm curious now to hear what the French sounds like, if it's crap or crop. Now I'm curious. But it swallowed his entire 3/8-ounce spinnerbait. Oh, wow, Tom. That's a big one. He said, wow, that's a big one. Nice. Fun. They're fun to catch. Yep. So let's see what else we got here. I think most people end up fishing for crappie with a jig. You guys can kind of tell me if that's true or not, but everybody that I speak to, pretty much, they fish for them with jig. Um, their primary diet's minnows, but I've never fished for crappie with minnows. That's just me. I've always just used a jig. So, but tell me what you guys use when you go crappie fishing. I'm curious. The largest black crappie touted calico bass in New England. Oh, nice. Huh. And it's so funny, what different species are called different places. Um, calico bass. And see, I've never heard them called that. So, but you know, that's I've not been to New England either. So I haven't been up that far. I've never been to New York. I've never been to any of the northern states. I go south when I go. Whisker Dreams. He likes the micro crankbait and the bluegill pattern. Absolutely. Yeah, they kill us with bluegills too. So, let's see. Yeah, it says, although crappie are caught from time to time on various lures. Hey, Dennis Stone. Hey, old timers, bass chaser. Welcome in, guys. So great to see you. They're known as calico bass in New Jersey, too. Interesting. Sacolate. Yeah, Creole was in here earlier, Danny. I don't know if he's still in here, but yes. But one that always pays off regularly is that small jig head with a soft plastic body. Um, anything resembling a minnow or a bluegill gets them a little crazy. The jigs weighing from a quarter, 1/64 to 1/16 of an ounce are often better than heavier ones and require the use of a light, thin diameter line. So, Tom says that his favorite crappie bait in warm weather is a rooster tail inline spinner, and in cold weather, I use the silver buddy blade bait. Nice. Yeah, I fish for crappie with the inline spinners too, rooster tails, and caught them on that. So I have absolutely fished for them that way. You never know at the dock where I go and fish a lot. You never know if you're going to get bluegill, if you're going to get crappie, because crappie stay underneath the piers too. Lots of channel catfish hang out around there. So you never know what you're going to get. And so I just try different things. Uh, we got a brush pile. We got a couple brush piles actually. And I know where they're located, and they'll stack up in those. And so you can usually always catch. When I took Lisa down there from Fishing Chick, and we didn't catch nothing. I mean, it was just one of those days. Nobody down there at the lake. Everybody we talked to, nobody had got a bite. So it was just one of those off days. And of course, it had to be an off day when I had her here. But I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. So it just is what it was. We had a good time. So, ooh, Danny Stone, you're going trout fishing. That's one thing. I've got great trout waters, but I have never been trout fishing, and I am going to rectify that because I think I would absolutely love to go trout fishing. Wishker Dream says he likes shooting docks with a jig. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Guerrero, welcome in. So great to see you. So, let's see if I think maybe Stan's going to pop up here in a second. But let's see. Okay, let's see what else we got here. This is kind of, going back and kind of reiterating. So when you set out in search of crappie, think brush or the nearest thing resembling brush. Crappie mostly eat minnows, and minnows hide around any kind of brush or weeds to avoid being eaten. So crappie go where the minnows hide. Other hideouts are fallen trees, the bushes, those piers, flooded weeds, shoals, boat docks, brush piles that have been planted to attract the minnows. And that's more than likely, you're gonna find some crappie there. So let's see. We already talked about that. Okay, so we didn't talk about the white crappie. So the white crappie record is a massive 21-inch long, 5-pound, 3-ounce white crappie. And has been the IGFA all-tackle world record for the species for over half a century. It was caught in the Yocana River below Enod Dam. The gentleman used an action rod and a Denison Johnson reel, but there's no information on the line, the lure, or the bait that he used. The fish was photographed and documented, and witnesses for the catch at the weigh-in. So there are pictures of that one. And so that was 5 pounds, 3 ounces for the white crappie, and 5 pounds, 7 ounces for the black crappie. So that's about their top ups. They build nests. Crappies are nest builders, generally nesting in the spring when the water temperatures are warm. White crappies tend to be longer than black crappies, and black crappies tend to be wider. So the black ones are fatter and the white ones are longer. Well, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Except I thought I had another whole hour.
Uh-oh.
I kind of got stuck running behind at the store and thinking it was only 6 something, and now it's actually 7 something. So I apologize to everybody out there.
Hey, it's okay. I'll take you when I can get you.
Thank you. What's up, Arrow? Danny Stone. Whisker Dreams, Trout for Bait. Yeah, I was catching some chat while I was coming in. Always check your regulations for what you can and can't use for bait, especially for catfish, because we like using everything. Mm-hmm. Even for like carp fishing, some states you can't use corn. Some states you're not allowed to have chum in the water. Some states you can.
That's a great point. We hadn't talked about that yet, so that's fantastic. Yeah, we always want to check our regulations. Everybody, we all know that you know, some people can have 2 rods, and I can have 1,400 rods if I could carry them stinking things there.
Yeah.
But it just depends on where you're at and what your rules and regulations are. But absolutely.
And we have actually been checked just this year, like 3 times, 2 or 3 times already.
Really?
And people, you know, now that you think about it, we talk about game wardens and you know, what do you call it, DNR and all. And depending on what it's called in your state, the people that are in charge of the game and fisheries, they know that people are doing lives, so all they got to do is check YouTube and things like that for lives that are in their area.
Mm-hmm.
So believe it or not, we got, when we were in that boat a couple months ago, I was in with Dan Green Machine, and the guy came up, and he actually had the game warden actually had people calling him saying that they saw his friends and other game wardens saying that they saw him on YouTube. And I said that he was a Virginia Marine Police, but he was actual Virginia game warden. He actually saw me again out on the river and specifically came over to kind of laugh at me a little bit for saying, I am not a Marine Police. I am the actual. But it turned out really well, though, because he did check everything. And we did have good things to say. You know, he heard, when he did check out the show later, he heard us saying, you know, check your regulations. If you have questions, call the, you know, they want you to do things the right way. So he was actually really cool when he came back to talk to us, because we were doing things right and we were trying to do the right thing. So most of the time, if you're doing that, they'll be pretty cool with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't get checked once last year. And I haven't been checked this year either. So I don't know what are wildlife. Normally you'll see them at least once in a year, but I haven't been out like on major holidays or anything like that. And they're always out. You know, everybody knows they're always out on holidays in my area, anyways.
Yeah.
And so,
well, with Virginia, with the James River, with it being a tidal river, you're talking about stripers and a lot of migratory fish. So that's why that they'll check that. They'll be a little bit more frequently on checking that, because it's the, like in ours, we can't keep river herring. We can't keep river herring and American shad because they're on the threatened list. So they check for that kind of stuff more frequently in the tidal rivers. So that's another thing to watch. But anyways, sorry to get off on a side note there, but it's an important thing.
It is. It's extremely important. And, you know, we don't want to, we all love to fish, but we certainly don't want to, I mean, you know, we're all little rule breakers every now and then, but they've got the rules to protect the fish. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think that us in this community anyways, are real respectful to the fish that we catch. So I really like that about our community. So I think we definitely need to keep up with that one. It's very important. But always check your rules and regulations. That's correct. So what's your biggest crappie? What's the biggest crappie you've ever caught? Have you ever weighed them? I've never weighed a crappie. So
I know I've caught. We used to catch them. I used to, like I said, lived in New York, in upstate New York, cold water, right in the mountain lake. So crappie up there was a pretty big thing. Like, it was on a pretty regular basis. We could go out and catch 14, 15, 16-inch crappie. As far as biggest crappie, my wife actually had what would have been the New York State record until I accidentally lost it out of the fish basket. That was over 4. That was a 4-pound and change black crappie.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it didn't even look real. It was so big, it didn't look like a crappie.
Wow. Yeah, we were talking earlier. I was telling everybody that the world record black crappie is actually caught about 30 minutes from me here in Tennessee. So I think that's really cool. A guy named Ferguson, his last name is Ferguson, and he caught it up in Loudoun County. And I think that's just awesome. We definitely got good crappie in our waters.
Do you know what the weight on it was? Was it like 5 and change, or?
It was 5 pounds and 7 ounces. It was 19.25 inches long.
There you go.
We caught it in a spring-fed pond in Loudoun County. And the white crappie was 21 inches long. It was a 5-pound, 3-ounce white crappie. And it was caught in the Yocona River below the Enod Dam. So, nice size crappies. I can't imagine catching a 5-pound crappie.
Yeah, even a 2-pound crappie, 3-pound crappie are huge. So
yes,
yes. But they're a lot of fun, and crappie. I don't know how much you covered, but they're crappie tend to be a schooling fish. Mm-hmm. So normally, if you catch one, you're going to catch more, and they tend to school in a certain depth. So and they'll move. So one of the good, if you're out in a boat, especially, one of the good techniques for the boat is to have yourself some marker buoys. Mm-hmm. So if you find them on the GPS, on the fish finder, or if you catch one, a lot of times what they'll do is drop a marker buoy, and then you'll keep catching them. And if you stop catching them, then you kind of circle around, and then when you catch them again, you throw another one. And eventually, if you do that 3-4 times, you can see where the marker buoys are at, and you can kind of put a line so you can keep ahead of where that school is moving. Sometimes they'll relate to open water. Other times it'll be, especially earlier in the year, they'll move up into the shallows and relate to structure, probably because of spawning purposes. But that's in the early parts of the year. That's when it's a lot easier. You can catch them from the bank a lot more readily. But that's when a lot of people have success with crappie is early in the year, and then again late in the year when the water cools back down again.
Gotcha. Yep. They spend the day swimming together in those large schools, and during the spring they move inland either to feed or to reproduce. So that's definitely their habit. They move around in schools, and you can get on a school. You catch one, you're going to probably catch 3 or 4, 5, 6, multiple fish there. So I was going to ask in chat, and nobody Google it, just guess. What state is the white crappie the official freshwater fish?
Ooh.
So everybody get your guesses in.
And no Google.
No,
we're watching. We're watching you.
Boy, I said boy.
And if anybody's friends with John outside of YouTube, like if you have his your Facebook friends or whatever, just drop a line, say hello. I know he's with losing his dog and things like that. I'm going to be contacting him here very soon. I know he's been going through some things. So just reach out, say hello. I'm sure that'll cheer him up a little bit.
Yeah, he was in here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still in here, but he was in here.
That's awesome. That's when he's not around, you kind of worry. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I hope everything's okay.
Dale guesses Ohio. Tom guesses Mississippi. Let's see what else comes in.
I'm going to throw out a guess of Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay. So Ohio, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Let's see where everybody else thinks of the official state fish.
Or maybe Minnesota or Kansas or the Carolinas. One of those.
Oh, I love it. There was a gentleman in here at one time that would know the answer to this, I'm sure. I'm not sure if that gentleman is still in here or not, but I don't see him popping up.
Was it Lyle?
I'm not telling you who. I just told you he was a gentleman. That's all I can say. Let's see if anybody else throw your guesses up there, guys. But I thought that was really cool. White crappies.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, and speaking of crappie, we're talking about crappie. A couple other great places if you want to learn about some panfish. Crappie. Of course, you got Panfish Nation, which is on later tonight. We were speaking of Lyle. Panfish Nation, right after the bait shop on Panfish Nation. Check out. They always have a great show. Definitely pick up some things there. Another great channel is SK's Crappie Catching Adventures. They do a weekly show also where they're talking about different crappies, and SK is actually a crappie guide. So you'll pick up a bunch of different tips, and it's got Steve from No Limits Tackle that does that with them. So there's a couple of great channels to pick up some awesome information about panfish.
And
aside from right here, of course.
That's right. We've also got Mark Catfish and Crappie. So
there you go.
You also got him. So, and there's some great crappie fishermen on YouTube. So, you know, if you're looking for some, I don't know, watching them fish for them, which is a great way to learn. I mean, that's how I learned to catfish. So, we've definitely got such a great resource here on YouTube. We can just about learn how to do anything. So we'll see if anybody else has got any guesses to that one.
Hey, Jay Fox Hunter in the house. How is it going? How's it going, Jim? Great to see you. Always great to see Jay Fox out in the chats.
Yeah, it's great to see him in here. I just adore that man. Him and his wife are such lovely people. Lovely people.
They were the highlight of CatCon for me. And that's close. That's saying a lot because it was a great CatCon, but
yep, it was a good one. So names that crappie go by. Do you call them crappie or crappie?
I call them crappie, but I've heard, depending, I've heard crappie. And I know there's a bunch of other ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, they are also called different other names. People call them paper mouths.
Yep.
They're called strawberry bass, speckled bass, calico bass. They're also called speckled perch, white perch. And in Louisiana, this answers Danny's question earlier. It's sac-a-lait, which actually means bag of milk in French.
Yeah.
And it's referring to its silvery white color. And so that's really cool. I had asked everybody earlier, what we were talking about, what all they call it. I know when Lisa was here, she said that she mentioned paper mouth, and she was asking me why they named them that, and I explained to her, and she had seen pictures. She's a smart woman, but definitely they do have paper mouth. There's no doubt about it. But Danny had brought that up earlier, and you said it was sac-a-lait? Okay. All right, perfect. Now, one thing I know that, with catfish, we really, we can make noise and do different things. We're not too reactive to noise. But now a crappie can detect small vibrations in the water. It has good vision in low light conditions. And so that's kind of one that you got to sneak up on and fish it smart, because they're very smart and they're very quick to react and get the grip away.
With their sight, like you were just saying, they also react to color a lot more than, say, catfish do. So if you find a certain color that you're catching them on that day with certain jigs, try to stick with that color range, because that, for whatever reason, there's different theories on it, but for whatever reason, that's the color that they're picking up on for that day. And the next day, it may be something totally different, but.
Yep. Well, they do. I want to ask the chat this too. Let's see who answers. why is that? Why do they have good vision in low light? They've got a high concentration of a particular color pigment. And so guess what color they have more of that allows them to see so well in dark water, low light conditions. And they also have an additional lens in the eyeball. So that also helps them.
Hey, George, there's Fishing the Dream. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, did anybody answer? Did anybody throw a guess out on the color?
Not yet.
I'll wait for a couple guesses to come in. I know what my guess is,
Okay.
but it was great seeing LG Bass is saying purple.
Yeah.
Fishing the Dream, white. That's a good guess.
Mm-hmm.
Fishing the Dream was it was awesome having him on watching Stand Day this past week. Stand 3 happened to catch a 42-pound grass carp. And, carp being a very, George's very informed about carp. So it was awesome having him in chat and several other people really having some good information about carp to talk about this past week. So that was a lot of fun. So thank you, George.
Absolutely. George, it's always good to see him in chat.
Thank you. Nice fish. Stand 3 caught it. I actually just had to kind of hold the pole at the end and kind of fight the last couple of runs. I'm just there to take credit for the fish. You know what I'm saying? So.
I love it. So what was your guess, Dan?
My guess is blue.
Blue. Okay. Well, we'll see if anybody else comes in. I'm trying to give away some gift cards, and let's see if anybody else is. Once everybody gets in all of their guesses, I can let you guys know what the answer is for those two. So, so what eats the crappie? So, what are crappie bait for in the waters? What do you think?
What does crappie eat, or what eats crappie?
What eats crappie?
Well, of course you got catfish.
Of course.
You got bass. You got northern pike, muskie. As far as smaller crappie, you'll have your other panfish, bluegill, and things like that.
Yep. Let's see. We only have them in big estates, rich estates.
The grass carp. It was a monster, 42 pounds. And they're beautiful fish, bright silver. The grass carp are a totally different looking fish than your common carp. They're real bright silver and just so powerful. It was really unbelievable.
Gotcha. So J Fox says black, and Carmel Muncie, I don't know why I'm not saying his name right tonight, says red. So that's a good answer. Let's see if anybody else has any guesses. And so it says here they eat largemouth bass and channel catfish eats them the most. They go after them. The eggs and the juvenile crappies are most vulnerable to predators, but even the adults can be consumed by a particularly large freshwater fish. And that's the reason why they stay in schools, is for protection. So, and so, we know that we went over this, that when the crappie starts to feed upon hatching, it starts on zooplankton. And then after reaching adult size, they feed upon crustaceans, insect larvae, and smaller fish, including young offspring of their own predators. So.
And that makes sense, because you hear a lot of people catching, particularly channel catfish, when they are actually crappie fishing on the little crappie jigs and stuff. So that would make sense of there being channel cats. And same thing with bass. You tend to catch a lot of bass when you're actually crappie fishing also. So definitely a good answer.
Absolutely. So if anybody's got any other guess to what state or what color, put it in the chat because I'm getting ready to end it and we'll go from there. So, real quick, I've got a couple more facts about reproduction. And so, upon the arrival of spawning season in the spring or early summer, the male crappies will create a nest in the river or lake ground by clearing out sand, gravel, and mud. The female will then visit various nests and mate with several males she has personally chosen. And the mating process involves simultaneous release of female eggs, and she can produce an average of 40,000 eggs, depending on her size and age. And
Wow.
The male sperm, which fertilize right there in the nest, which is really cool. Hey, Hillbilly Hippie, welcome in. So good. I haven't eaten yet. I'm hungry, so I'm going to get off and eat. After fertilization is complete, the male will stand guard over the eggs for the next few days until they begin to hatch. The surviving juvenile will move into deeper water and begin to feed without the protection of their parents. At this stage, most of the young are lost to attrition. They make up for this in sheer number of eggs produced. So there's a lot of them get ate, but there's a lot of them made. So it takes about 2 to 4 years for them to reach sexual maturity. And the oldest known crappie is 15 years old, but the typical lifespan is around 7. So that's interesting. I always like to know how long they live.
Yeah.
And, and because you just never know in the cycle of things where they are. But it's so interesting to know the differences between, how long different fish live and where they live and what their, environments are. Really, really cool.
And I think part of that helps with the more information, the more that you can learn about it. All makes you more informed when you decide whether you keep that fish or not, what fish to keep, what size to keep. So I think that's great information to put out there.
That's okay. And George, you can talk about that. You can talk about carp all you want to. You're more than welcome to chat in that chat. You're not bothering me an ounce. But so the state, thank you guys for participating. The state is going to be Louisiana.
Oh, how did I not know that?
State, the answer to that. So nobody got that one. Nobody landed on
Man.
it.
Oh, duh. I've actually seen that before.
So Mr. Creole Catfishing would have won one if he had. So,
Creole's going to be mad at me if he hears about this.
All right. So the second one is Carmel Muncie got it, red. So they have more of the red. They can see more red in the water than they can any other color. And so it is definitely red. So Carmel, if you will email me at catfishingwithcause@gmail.com, give me an email address. I'm going to send you a $10 e-gift card to Amazon. And so just email me and let me know. And just tell me you won the card and I'll get you the information. So that way you got $10 on Amazon.
Woo!
So what do you so after this, we've got the bait shop.
Yeah.
Over on Fields to Water channel. Hey, Dink over Stink, welcome in.
What's up, Dink?
And then we got Panfish Nation.
Yep.
And then after that, I think you're doing a little something. What's that?
Well, the Flathead Challenge on Thursday nights at 10.
Okay, so we got that. I haven't gotten a notification that Bex and Stevie are fishing tonight, but if you want to watch some live fishing, go over to No Real Loss and check them out. Always a great time, always a positive time. And they're on that mighty Potomac River, so they catch some fish. So
Yeah, I didn't get one either. I was just checking right now, and I don't.
I normally get one when they go live because I love No Real Loss. So, but I didn't.
You will definitely see some dancing. That's for sure.
Definitely see some dancing. Yeah, that's right. Nothing better than that. But I hope everybody has a great week. It's good to be back on the positive side of things now and moving forward in our learning and getting on to catfish where we all know and love. But I just wanted to create this series to where somebody can start at the very beginning and then move from there. So that way, they've got a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of insight as to, what it takes to catch other fish, even if, they've always, you may have somebody that's fished for catfish for 20 years and never fished for anything else. So I just wanted to set that groundwork. So there was a reference in the community to where we can go and find out information and facts in a sequential way.
When somebody is first starting out fishing, I don't care whether it's crappie or bass or whatever, live bait is the biggest way, the surest way to catch fish. With crappie, little live minnows is one of the best absolute ways to start learning how to catch fish, and then you can go to jigs and different things like that. And another great one is those gulp minnows, the little 1-inch or 2-inch gulp minnows. They work fantastic for crappie.
Absolutely. And guess what we're covering next week? Lures to catch crappie. So we're going to get all into that next week. So, and much love to you, George. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. And go over and watch one of the shows and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will definitely talk to you guys in chat. You got anything else to say, Mr. Stan?
No, that's it. Always great to see everybody. Sorry for holding up the show today, but much love to everybody out there. Go on over and check out Mr. Chad on The Bait Shop, Fields to Water. They always have a good time over there. And I'll see everybody tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be out there.
Fantastic. And thank you, Danny. It is good to have other species of fish when catfishes are spawning, so you can keep fishing. That's exactly it. So that's my brother. We see eye to eye. All right, everybody. Have a great night and a great week, and I'll talk to you in chat.
See y'all soon.